All right. Well, look who we have here. Looking fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Bumblebee, Karen Ranzi. Well, Karen, thank you for being in the Halloween spirit. Love, love, love your wings. And Dr.
Got my antennas on.
And your antennas. And Dr. Graham have a very good joke about bumblebees. He'll tell us. All right. Well, welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me today, Larissa and Dr. Graham. I'm so excited to be here again. And this is one of my favorite times of year, the fall, and actually Halloween. When my own kids were growing up, it was always a challenge. And so I turned that challenge around and over the years got very positive about it by all of the different things that I could do to create a healthy Halloween. And I gave out healthy treats to all the kids who came to our house. And it actually started to be that the kids used to love coming to my house because I wasn't giving the candy that everybody else gave. I was giving something completely different and fun. And I'll just give you an idea of some of the really nice things that I gave out to the kids that came to our house. I would hand out things like beautiful shells, black cat keychains. There you go, Larissa, she's a black cat. I would even give out skeleton masks, pretty barrettes to the girls, colorful whistles, stone rings.
It's an endless list.
Yeah, and I pack them in these cute little bags, Halloween treat bags, just make them super special. And I let the kids pick a fruit or veggie sticker.
Wow.
And they would like wait on line outside, waiting to get my things. And last year, one boy screamed out to the kids in the street, "Come on, this is the best house." So I enjoy doing that. And also when my kids came home, they would go out trick-or-treating. And when they got home with their big bag of candy, I would do a trade-in. So that was the time of the year that I would buy them something really special that they were looking forward to having, and they would trade in the bag of candy that wasn't going to serve them well. And I would also have like a little party for them and their friends sometimes also in the kitchen. And these were some of the treats. So I'm going to show you 3 things today. And we're going to start with the blueberry pudding pie. So I made like a little party in the kitchen. And so the first thing was the blueberry pudding pie. And all of my treats have bananas in them. So speckled bananas are key for better digestion. So a lot of times I get these at the health food store on sale when nobody wants them anymore. They think they're bad. These are the best. So I love my speckled bananas. So I have 6. I may use 1 or 2 extra. And I am going to get my cutting board. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to slice the bananas thin and layer a pie plate with the bananas. Now, many pies have nut and seed and dried fruit crusts, but I'm really trying to follow as much as possible in these treats, the food combining for better digestion. So I really have not made that crust with this particular pie. I just layer the whole thing with banana. And so we can get started slicing. And I have two different knives that I use that I really love. One of them that I've had for like 40 years is my Japanese caddy knife. It just always works perfectly to slice any fruits and veggies. And the other one is a Swiss Victorinox knife. So right now I'm going to use the Japanese knife. And then the other key thing for the holidays is always having a beautiful tray or dishes that the food goes into. So I've had this tray that I've used since my kids were young. So it's been with me for many years, this Halloween tray. And I put treats in there. So I'm going to start by peeling and slicing the bananas. And I'm just going to show you how thin. I'm going to start at the edge, put my fingers all the way back, and just slice in very thin pieces. So one banana at a time. And then I'm going to put them into the pie plate. And these three treats are so super simple that even a child can recreate the recipe. So now I'm going to layer. I'm going to layer the bottom of the pie plate with this banana. So I'm going to do it banana slice to banana slice. And I'm going to go all around the lower outer rim. And then I'm going to start on the inner. And so you want as little space as possible. The sliced banana is really the crust of this pie.
I like your smooth bumblebee movements, Karen.
Thank you. And again, just peeling all of the bananas and continuing that process all the way around.
Just one layer thick, right?
Yes, you're going to just do right now a full layer on the bottom, and then you're going to start layering on top of that so that the inside of the pie, the filling of the pie is sliced bananas. And the interesting thing, and why this is such a great pie to bring for a holiday festivity, is that what we're going to do for the sauce on the top, that it is going to bind on top of the bananas, and it's going to look so pretty when you bring it somewhere or when you serve it at a party. And that's why I've used this recipe and given it out to my students for so many years. A couple weeks ago, I went to a fall demonstration that one of my students was giving, and she made this pie, and everybody loved it. Okay, so I'm getting closer and closer towards the inner part. So that the whole bottom is covered. And then next, I'm gonna layer on top of this. So I'm already now going around the top. And I hope that everybody has either fresh blueberries or frozen thawed blueberries for the sauce. If you haven't thawed frozen blueberries, then make sure to do that now. So I'm going to grab my next banana. I mean, this recipe can also make a good meal in addition to a treat. So we're just going to continue to do that. I'll use these little end pieces to fit through a space. And my filling of banana slices is already growing here.
Karen, are you just aligning the your dish, or you making a double layer, triple layer? What is the thickness?
I'm already layering.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when my student did it at an event, she did it a little differently. She put banana slices around the side. So you could do that as well, where you could have the bananas up on the side, the slices. That could be like your side crust.
Okay.
You can do that as well.
Sorry, Karen, I didn't hear. Did you say you're doing layers of the bananas?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, because the banana is the filling. It's the main part of the pie. Good way to get your bananas in. Bananas have always been a staple at my house. I know Dr. Graham loves his bananas. My son Marco, when he was little, it was one of his first foods. And for 2 months, there were like 2 months there where he mainly ate bananas. I remember getting a little bit concerned, but there wasn't any reason to. But he loved bananas. We even used to call him Monkey. So I did use the bananas on the side, as you can see. All right, now I'm still adding to the layers of banana.
That look fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, all this is bananas. So you're gonna see in these 3 recipes that you can do something completely different with just one food. I am gonna be doing a sauce on top of it, but even the sauce only has 2 ingredients in it. Just the blueberries and the dates.
Karen, how many bananas do you use for the crust?
You know, it depends on the size of the banana, but usually 6 to 7.
Karen, if you make this in advance, will it stay and look well if you make it in advance? Do the bananas go brown? Like how much will it stay in the fridge and stuff?
Probably for a day. Like you wouldn't want to make it 2 or 3 days in advance because the bananas will start to brown and get mushy, but for a day, it's fine. Sometimes I'll do it the night before going to an event.
Okay.
So I have this plate of the bananas, and now I'm going to make the sauce to go on top of it. Can you see my blender?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
So some people do not like bananas like I am. I mean, I can have them in the smoothies and what else can I fill it up with?
I've done it in the summertime with sliced peaches or sliced nectarines, and that also tastes really delicious.
Wow, that's good suggestion.
Well, you can certainly choose other fruits. I mean, this would taste amazing with sliced mango. You could do mango and peach. That would be really delicious. So I have a bag of organic wild blueberries, and I thawed the blueberries. Okay, I hope that they are thawed enough. The more thawed they are, the easier they will blend. If they are not thawed enough, you may have to add a little water in to get it moving. And I have some dates that I've soaked. And so if you're using smaller dates, and I do recommend using only organic dates. I've read recently that now cornstarch is being added to dates, conventional dates. So always a good thing to get organic.
And corn, and Karen, and corn syrup. I bought a pack recently that had corn syrup. I was so alarmed and upset.
Wow.
I had to throw it away.
Yeah, I mean, I've even read that it doesn't have to be even in the ingredients to be there.
I know.
So good thing to get organic. So I have these beautiful, really raw or organic medjool dates. So I have 8 because they're pretty large dates. So I'm adding the dates to the blueberries. You want to make sure that you pit them. I pitted some of them that really needed some good soaking because they just weren't soft enough. These 2 were quite soft, so I didn't soak them. Definitely need to pit it, or else your blender is going to have a problem. So I'm going to take out the pits, split the date, and there I've got my 8 dates in there. I'm going to see if my blueberries are loose enough, thawed enough to provide the water needed for this sauce. Okay, it came out perfect. So you want this really well blended blueberry date sauce. Sometimes I even just use the sauce as a dip. Makes a great dip. And any fruit really works. With raw foods, you can't go wrong. That's the one thing that I found over the years. Anytime that I didn't have a certain ingredient and I tried something else, it still came out wonderful. Apple and date also works well because of the pectin. The wonderful thing is that when you pour the blueberry date sauce over the banana filling and you put it in the refrigerator, because of the pectin, it will thicken. The pectin in blueberries or apples, it makes it thicken over the banana and it creates like a beautiful mold. And so that's why I'm making this first, so that at the end, I'm hoping that we'll be able to see that. One of my students gave me this great spatula from OXO. That's wonderful with the Vitamix. It gets right into the bottom and gets everything out. So I'm taking my sauce and I'm spreading it, this nice thick sauce, I'm spreading over my sliced bananas.
Karen, the color is gorgeous.
Yeah, this is like such a beautiful display. If you bring it to an event, people always think that you worked a lot harder. So I'm just going to try to get out as much blueberry as I can, because I want this to be a really thick topping. And then I'm going to put it right into the refrigerator. And I'm going to spread it. I certainly have plenty to be able to spread it. So it's real easy. And then the very last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get some shredded coconut. And I'm going to sprinkle that on top, which makes it look extra pretty for the holidays. So that's the last step. And I always had my kids involved with me. At ages 3 and 5, my children were up at the counter preparing food with me. That's the best way to have your kids enjoy this abundance of fresh, healthy, raw food, is to have them prepare it with you. At a certain point, my kids became the chefs, and my husband and I were their customers. And we actually paid them for their food creations. So there we go. Wipe off a little bit of the blueberry that came on the side. And there is your pie.
Yay.
Blueberry pudding pie. Easy.
Gotta love it.
Quick.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put it into the refrigerator so that the top part will mold over the banana, and we'll check it at the end.
Karen, and you don't recommend to put the shredded coconut later?
You could do that also, but this way it just sticks right in there.
Okay.
Well, Karen, you just make it look so easy in the kitchen. You've
Well, that is
obviously
really
done this
easy.
before.
I always pick easy recipes because we all have busy lives, and I just feel like I don't want to make anything super complicated because I'm always focused on the best digestion, and these are fun foods and kids can easily create them. I'm now going to show you, I'm going to go over to the food processor now and show you something very different with bananas again. So the same ingredient, but a completely different recipe. And these are banana fun pops. I've presented these at so many holiday celebrations, and even my kids' friends who always told me that they didn't like fruits and vegetables, they love these pops. So I'm going to bring bananas over there. I usually use 5 or 6 ripe bananas. So I'm going to bring those over to my food processor. Over to the food processor. Okay, can you see the food processor?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. So I'm going to take the bananas. Again, peel the bananas, peel all the bananas and put them in to the food processor. Any bad pieces, just take them off. With this recipe, you can actually just, if you have nice ripe bananas, you don't have to spend all the time slicing. You can just break them up and put them into the food processor. Now these pops have a creamy, really creamy taste to them. And one of the reasons is that I put in a small amount of pine nuts. Most of the time I follow good food combining. It's not the best food combining to mix a sweet fruit with nuts, but it's an occasional treat. And when I think about what some people have at their parties compared to my banana pops, this is a great treat that the kids really enjoy for the holidays. So it's a special treat. And I took it out for those times when it's something like Halloween and all the candy is being offered, and I really didn't want my kids to have that. So these treats replaced those. There was one daughter of a friend who used to love coming to my holidays just for these pops. Every time she came, she always asked for them. So you're going to put a 1/4 cup. I like to measure it out exactly. And you can double this and make more. Now pine nuts, you could soak them, but it's not as necessary to soak the pine nuts as other nuts. Most nuts like almonds and walnuts, I find that they digest a lot better if they're soaked in advance, but the pine nuts usually do fine. So I'm pouring the pine nuts in with the bananas and peel the rest of the bananas. When I make them for myself, like these are pretty sweet, I usually don't add dates, but I do have in the recipe that if you want it even sweeter for the holidays, you know, the holidays have so many sugary things. So if you're bringing it to an event and you want to add a couple of organic medjool dates, you could do that. I'm going to add just 1. And I also have fall Dixie cups with trees on them. I like to get some kind of a Dixie cup with a design on it. And my last banana. And now I'm going to just blend all of this up until it's nice and creamy. And I'm going to spoon it into these Dixie cups. And I have sticks, wooden sticks. I'm going to put the wooden sticks into the cups. Okay, so this is pretty creamy. Doesn't matter if you have a loose consistency because it's going to go into the freezer. And the main thing I'm checking is that the pine nuts are nicely blended in. So I'm going to just take this mixture and I am going to spoon it into these cups. And you want to fill it about 3/4 of the cup to have a little bit of space on the top, and then put in a stick. And when you put them in the freezer, you'll have to make sure that they're not against anything and that they are straight up, because or else you'll get the sticks falling to the sides. So you want the sticks to stay straight up. As it thickens in the freezer, that won't be a problem. Let's see how many cups this will make. Okay. So I'm going to put these on a tray. So here's my Halloween tray.
Do you fill out a half of the cup or?
I fill it
3/4?
about 3/4. I don't think you can see this, but
3/4.
I'll take the computer afterwards and put it right on top of the cup so that you can see. I'm making it about 3/4 or a little bit more full. Do one more. So I have 5 here. I have a little bit left. I can probably do a half of another one. And these will go in the freezer overnight. And they'll be ready the next day. So these would always make really pretty party treats, and especially for this time of year. So I'm going to put these on the table right now. And I'm going to show you now my very last treat. Let's see, maybe I'm going to go back over there. Okay, I'm going to go back. You can see I use my stove here as the countertop. So I have some raisins. Now this one I prepared with my kids when they were really, really young. And I just took a banana and we made what was called banana ghosts. So we would peel a banana. Put it on a dish. I use some raisins. I'm going to take out. And I'm going to get the coconut. I'm going to sprinkle the coconut onto the dish. Spread it out a bit and just roll the banana in it. And so these are coconut ghosts. You're just going to roll the banana. I made a variety of banana ghosts at the Woodstock Fruit Festival last year for the kids, and they really liked them. So you just want to cover it, kind of push the coconut into the banana.
Karen, at the other end of the freezing experience, are you going to put those paper cups in a little bit of warm water to get the frozen banana out, or are you going to just let them thaw naturally, or what's your?
What I do is it rips right off.
We lose the cup and it just rips off. Perfect.
Yes. Okay, so now I'm going to make eyes. Just going to push the raisins in for eyes. And a nose. And you can make a little mouth with the raisins. And if you wanted to, you could even put a stick at the end of it. But that's what I do with really young kids. We just make something simple like that. I do a lot of like designs with children. Sometimes we'll make a sun with orange wedges, and we'll put like some pineapple in the inside of it, and the wedges of the orange will be the rays of the sun. I do things like that with children, and my kids like things simple like this. This is for young children to do the banana ghost. And so those are just 3 very simple treats that you can do with your kids at home.
That is amazing. You know, as I said earlier, Karen, you make it look easy, and your response is very lighthearted. Really, you know, you take easy recipes, but but really you make it look easy, and it demonstrates clearly that you've done it before, how comfortable you are in the kitchen, how efficient you are. There wasn't a lot of wasted effort. I didn't hear, clattering silverware, or nothing gets dropped, nothing gets broken. It's just every effort does something and creates an effect. And so in a matter of minutes, in a very, very calm fashion, like the way you would teach children, really, or beginners in the kitchen. And I just think you did a great job yet again. I'm really impressed with how well you carry that off.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. I want to take a look at the pie and see if it's solidified at all. So I'm going to just take that out of the refrigerator and check that. So it's already starting to solidify. And that's what makes it look really pretty. It looks like almost like a Jell-O mold over the bananas. So that's what you'll find when you put this in the refrigerator. And it really only needs a few hours.
Does it cut
In the
easy?
freezer.
Karen?
Oh yeah, it slices pretty easy. And sometimes the blueberry date mixture slips down into the crevices of the sliced bananas. And it even makes like a really thick slice, which is nice. So I'm not gonna slice it now for you because it really needs time in the refrigerator. It will be just fall apart right now. But if you keep it in there for 3 to 4 hours, it's ready to go. And it makes a perfect, really quick holiday decoration and display, and a delicious treat on the table. So between those and the pops, and the ghost.
My ghost eye pop out.
And see the combination.
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful, very festive. Yeah, and creative. And it's just 3 ingredients.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's really amazing, Karen.
yeah. So for those of you who don't want to spend hours in the kitchen, that's the way to go.
Right.
Yes.
To entice your kids to create with foods. I think that's a really art when you know what to do with those beautiful, colorful ingredients, coming up with dishes like that. And really appreciate it, Karen, to open our eyes to that and let us learn to see it differently and approach it differently. Thank you very much.
Right. I mean, I would have made like one more complicated pie or dish, but I thought that these 3 quick ones would be a lot more practical. So I focused on those.
I
Karen,
appreciate
what's
it
the
a
first
lot,
thing you say
Karen.
to people when children say that their parents won't let them eat fruit?
Oh,
I've had that happen sometimes where kids have come over and said, I can't eat much of this because my mom says, it's too close to dinner, and this is only a snack, and too much sugar, things like that. And so I just tell them, this is what we eat. This is healthy food. This is food that gives you energy and makes you strong. And so they would go home telling that to their parents. And, over the years, some of the parents who were in our community, I homeschooled my kids, so we had a large homeschool community. And many of those parents, over time, started seeing the way that we were eating and started adding a lot of fruit and a lot of vegetables too. And so we saw the growth of this way of living in our community, which was really nice.
Such a force for good in your community.
yes, and
You've led from
that's
the
right.
front for a very long time, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been living this lifestyle now for 26 years. And thank you, Doug, for being such an inspiration to me and one of my most important mentors.
We have Mutual Admiration Society.
Karen, I have a question. I had a child in kindergarten who was a diabetic. That was probably 2011. I worked until 2011 and then I retired. And should have this one of the sugar, and so what the school couldn't do anything, so somebody will take her to the to the machine, you know, and they give her some that high corn syrup juice, you know, so that the sugar will go up. But kindergarten, I couldn't believe. So what do you think in these cases? I know it's not
Yeah,
easy, but
you know, I've worked with families with children as young as 7 years old.
mm,
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear kindergarten because it's happening younger and younger now. And you know what they really don't understand, that it is not about the sugar in the fruit. It's about the fat in the animal food.
it's about the fat, yes.
The fat is keeping the sugars and the
Mhm.
healthy sugars from getting through into the cells. And you know, for a really great description of how this works, I would recommend Doug's 80-10-10 diet.
Mm,
His book
thank you.
gives a really great explanation of this. So I really try to explain to people that the fruit is healthy. It's when you're eating really high in fat that it causes this problem with the glucose from the fruit not being able to reach the cells. And that's where diabetes shows up.
Yes.
Many children who have been raised on dairy end up with type 1 or type 2 diabetes. And so we're seeing a lot of type 1 diabetes now in very young children.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'm just curious, does this phenomenon occur even with plant fats?
Even with what?
Plant fats?
Not as much, but I also think that plant fats should also be reduced. You know, for very young children, certainly fats are important, but you know, as they get older and even starting in the elementary years, they could be eating mostly fruits and vegetables and get their needs met with a smaller amount of fats from nuts, seeds, and avocado.
The answer is most definitely yes. Virtually all of the responsible raw vegan chefs, virtually all of the vegan doctors in the world community all recommend that we avoid oils of every kind, of course,
Definitely.
plant oils as well as animal fats, and primarily for this reason. They also know that all fats are very sticky. If you get even a little fat on your hands, it doesn't come off very easily. All fats are very sticky.
Mhm.
It doesn't come off with just water like sugar will. And so we have this problem in the bloodstream of the stickiness that is the generic makeup of fats. Yes, heated fats are even more sticky. It's pretty tough to get baked cheese off a lasagna pan, but even oil or the fat from an avocado or a nut or seed still makes such a dramatic coating that diabetes can easily be a problem when we're eating a high fat raw diet.
Yes. And, you know, especially the saturated fat, I think, is like the biggest problem. But I also agree that I've seen people eating, you know, like when I first started 26 years ago, I was eating a diet. I was having a diet that was very, very high in fats, not so much oils, but so many nuts. I was just eating nuts all day long. And that did not serve me. I felt really sluggish. I didn't feel well. And it wasn't until I went to a lower fat diet that I had more energy. And so I do think that we need to be eating primarily fruits and vegetables in a small amount of nuts, seeds, avocado. I even remember asking you, Doug, many years ago, you know, oh, can I have 2 avocados in a day? And you're like, no, I don't think so. Not a good
If
idea.
you eat 6,000 calories a day, you're right on.
Yeah. And I mean, I get my exercise, but I don't feel good if I'm eating that much avocado. So I can tell right away, like if you really are starting to eat all these healthy foods and you're starting to feel sluggish, you might want to look at, you know, your energy goes down when you're eating all that fat. You just, you know, unless like what Doug said, you're doing a lot of working out.
I completely agree, Karen and Dr. Graham. I start feeling so much lighter and so much more lively, alive, lowering my fat intake, and it's been tremendous change to my whole physiology and my health and my thinking. So definitely, fats is, my opinion, is a real problem in our diet. So
Yes, definitely. And I just want to say that also, as someone is getting older, you know, I've seen through the years that, you know, this way of eating, it just supports us and it supports women's health.
yes,
And I've seen women who have come to my classes with thyroid problems and wanting to lose weight and arthritis, all kinds of autoimmune stuff. And they go on to this low fat, raw vegan lifestyle, and it's just huge. One woman recently with thyroid issues was on all kinds of medications. And after doing this for just 5 weeks, went back and had some tests done by her endocrinologist. And the endocrinologist said, what are you doing? You can get off all your meds. So her thyroid function was going to normal. And the same thing with a woman and her husband with severe arthritis. It was so bad that it looked like she was going to lose her driver's license. And she was like not even 60 years old yet. And she started doing a raw vegan, low fat. She wasn't 100% raw, but on her way, eating pretty much high raw and whole foods and low fat. And, you know, within a few months, they both saw the changes. They came running up to me at a health expo where I was speaking, and they were like, we cannot believe it. It's like a miracle. And so it's very impressive what this way of eating, I mean, I don't have to tell some of you because some of you may have come from that yourselves, but it's really impressive what a low fat, raw vegan lifestyle can do for one's health.
Yes,
it
and
does. Yes.
Dr. Esseltyn, who wrote the book, How to Prevent Heart Disease, he uses no oil with all his coronary disease patients, you know. So he says no oil at all, nothing. If you have coronary disease, no, nothing, none of that.
Right.
So
No, I know him.
another person, if somebody doesn't want to go with Graham 8-10-10, so then there is Dr. Esseltyn, he says no oil at all.
No oil. Yeah. Even a small amount of oil is a lot of fat.
Exactly.
And it's highly processed food. It's like, why it's not something that you would really even consider a food.
Yes.
It's bottled, it's processed, you know, it's made in a factory. It's not, you know, and a lot of people will come to me and say, well, you know, I want to follow more the Mediterranean diet, and they ate a lot of olive oil. It's not the olive oil that creates a healthy diet, it's the fruits and the vegetables. So there's more fruits and vegetables in that way.
Oils is
Not the oil that's the benefit.
People do not understand it. It's not whole food. Where does the oil come from? Better eat olive and not olive oil and whatever they say, because it is a processed food.
That's right.
Because
It's very processed. And some of the oils that you'll see in even some of the organic dressings and other organic products is canola oil. And everybody thinks canola oil is so healthy. Well, it's one of the top GMO foods today. And it's also, in addition to being highly processed, it's an industrial solvent. This is what I've read, that it's an industrial solvent. I don't want that in my food. So it's easy to make your own dressings, very easy to make your own dressings without using any of those things.
All right. And on this note, I think we're lucky.
Did it again.
And privileged, yes, to have this knowledge and to have raw vegan chefs to come on our show and teach us very simple, very healthy recipes.
Yes, and I hope that you can all use those recipes for your holidays. I know right now a lot of people are not getting together for parties and events, but even with your immediate family, you can make these kinds of treats. And again, I stressed how important it is that when you have kids, that they should be up at the counter with you preparing things. And that's why you want really easy 2 and 3 ingredient recipes.
Yeah.
And everyone, we look forward to see you next week. Thank you for spending this hour with us.